The film opens in a quiet Virginia house, the aftermath of a brutal crime scene. Police move carefully through the home. Blood stains the walls and floors, and multiple victims are found dead in disturbing positions. Strangely, there are no signs of forced entry. It looks as if the family died trying to escape something, but nothing quite adds up. In the basement, the sheriff makes a chilling discovery. Half buried in the dirt floor is the body of a young unidentified woman. She is pale, naked, and perfectly preserved with no visible wounds. Unlike the bloody chaos around her, her body seems untouched. The sheriff immediately realizes she doesn't belong to the crime scene in any obvious way, and she's tagged as a Jane Doe. The scene shifts to the Tilden family mortuary, where Tommy, the father, and his son Austin work late into the night. They're seasoned coroners, methodical and calm as they perform autopsies in the basement facility beneath their home. Tommy is experienced, precise, and carries himself with the steady patience of someone who has seen everything. Austin, younger and still learning, assists his father but isn't as hardened. They're finishing up with another body, discussing the cause of death, when Austin's girlfriend Emma comes by. She playfully teases Austin about working with corpses and asks to see something creepy. Austin obliges, showing her the bell tied to an ankle of one of the corpses, a callback to an old practice morticians used to ensure the dead weren't mistakenly buried alive. Emma is spooked but fascinated. Just as Emma is trying to convince Austin to go out with her, the sheriff arrives carrying the mysterious Jane Doe from earlier. He tells Tommy that the police need a cause of death as soon as possible. The crime scene and Jane Doe may be the key to understanding it. Austin is torn. He promised Emma they'd go to the movies, but he feels an obligation to help his father with the autopsy. The two prepare their instruments, place Jane Doe on the metal table, and begin their work. Tommy comments on how unusual it is to get an unidentified body like this with no outward trauma. Austin notices her skin is strangely pale, almost gray, and that rigor mortis hasn't fully set in. Everything about her feels off, but they proceed. The first incisions and observations begin. They note broken wrists and ankles, as if she had been restrained. Her eyes are clouded but oddly intact. The tongue appears cut, suggesting possible ritual or torture. Yet her outer body shows no sign of bruising or defensive wounds. The deeper they look, the stranger it gets. Her lungs show signs of blackening, as if burned, though there are no external burns. Her stomach lining is scarred, and they find traces of a poisonous herb not native to Virginia. It's as if her body is a puzzle of impossible contradictions, injuries that don't match her perfect exterior. As they document these findings, subtle disturbances creep into the morgue. The radio in the background suddenly switches stations on its own, playing an old song. A draft of cold air drifts through the room, though no vents are open. The lights flicker, forcing Austin to stop and glance at the ceiling. Tommy dismisses it as an electrical issue, but Austin feels uneasy. They peel back Jane Doe's skin layer by layer, shocked to find occult markings carved into the underside of her skin, invisible from the outside. These symbols are old, jagged, almost ritualistic. Neither man can explain how she could be so pristine on the surface while hiding such violence inside. Austin grows increasingly disturbed, but Tommy keeps pushing. He insists they must finish tonight, since the sheriff is counting on them. Then the morgue itself seems to respond. The ventilation system rattles as if something is moving inside the shafts. Doors creak open by themselves. They hear faint noises, like footsteps in the hallway upstairs, though the house should be empty. When Austin goes to investigate, he finds the corridor empty. But as he turns back, he swears he sees a shadow move behind him. Returning to the autopsy room, they prepare to examine Jane Doe's body. As Tommy cuts through the skin, the lights cut out entirely, plunging the room into darkness. The radio flares up again with the same old song, warped and distorted. Austin scrambles for a flashlight, and realizes every single drawer is open. The corpses that had been stored there are gone. Panic hits. He rushes back to Tommy, urging that they need to get out now. They race toward the elevator, their footsteps echoing in the hall. But when they press the button, the doors refuse to open. The power isn't strong enough to operate the lift. Forced to turn back, they retreat to the office, hearts pounding. As they move through the hallway, they hear a faint scuffing sound. Something is moving just out of sight. They slam the office door shut behind them and lock it. Tommy grabs the phone, frantically trying to call the sheriff. But when the line picks up, all he hears is static. His voice doesn't carry through, something is interfering, blocking their cries for help. Then, clear as day, a sound cuts through the silence. The faint ringing of a bell. Both men freeze. They know that sound. They tied small bells to corpses' ankles, but now the bell is jingling just outside their door. Austin, trembling, crouches and peers through the gap at the bottom. He catches the pale legs of a figure walking past, a corpse shambling aimlessly, dragging its bell with each step. They scramble to block the door with shelves and cabinets, pushing hard against the wood. Austin's voice cracks as he tells his father that this all started when Jane Doe came in. That corpse isn't just strange, she's behind it all. Suddenly, from the bathroom attached to the office, something lashes out. A corpse bursts forward, grabbing Tommy and dragging him inside. The door slams shut, locking Austin out. He hammers on the door, shouting for his father, but inside he hears the muffled struggle. Finally, Austin breaks through, finding Tommy on the tiled floor, bruised and bleeding. He hauls him up, grabs the medical kit, and does what he can. Tommy, shaken but lucid, admits the truth: they aren't dealing with anything human. This is supernatural. With no other options, they make a desperate choice. They're going to burn Jane Doe. They hurry back to the morgue and lift her lifeless body onto the stretcher. But before they can roll it out, the heavy steel door slams shut on its own, locking them in. Austin turns, and sees a corpse standing on the other side watching them. They realize they're running out of time. They douse Jane Doe's body in accelerant and light her up. The flames roar to life, engulfing her. But instead of burning away, the fire grows hotter and hotter, climbing up the walls, searing the ceiling. Heat drives them back as smoke fills the room, so they decide to extinguish the flames. When the haze clears, they stagger forward, looking at the body. Jane Doe lies exactly as before, not a single mark of fire. Suddenly, the morgue door clicks open this time. They bolt for the elevator, adrenaline pushing them on. But at the end of the hall, another corpse follows them. They jam the button, the elevator doors slide open, and they pile in. But the moment they do, the power cuts again, trapping them inside. Then something moves in the hallway. Tommy steels himself, clutching a hammer, while Austin braces. A shadow rushes forward, and Tommy strikes, only to have struck Emma. Austin is devastated. His hands tremble as Tommy pulls him close, dragging him deeper into the elevator. Together, they realize the truth: if Jane Doe wanted them dead, they'd be gone already. She's keeping them alive for something worse. Austin convinces his father they can't run anymore. The only chance they have is to figure out what Jane Doe is and how she died. They return to the morgue, their nerves frayed but determined. Cutting into her skull, they extract brain tissue and place it under the microscope. What they see terrifies them. The cells are moving, meaning she's still alive. Going through the items recovered from her body, they find a scrap of cloth inscribed with strange writing. Reading carefully, they discover it's a passage from Leviticus 20. Any man or woman who consults the dead shall be put to death. It dawns on them. Jane Doe isn't just a victim. She's a witch, punished centuries ago, her suffering carried in silence all this time. She's lashing out, forcing others to endure her torment. Tommy makes the ultimate choice. He realizes she's keeping them alive to inflict pain, to let them feel what she felt. He kneels beside her body and pleads, begging her to take him instead of his son. Suddenly, his wrists and ankles snap, breaking as though crushed by invisible restraints. Jane Doe's wounds begin to heal before their eyes. Her cloudy eyes glimmer faintly with life. Tommy screams in agony, begging Austin to end it. Austin, sobbing, takes a blade and does what his father asks. Soon, the lights flicker back on, and the morgue is quiet again, as if nothing happened. Austin, shaking and broken, stumbles toward the main door. He hears voices outside, rescue crews calling to him, promising to get him out. He pushes against the door, desperate, but it doesn't open. Suddenly, the voices fade into mocking laughter. It's another trick. Austin stumbles backward, trips, and crashes down the stairwell, breaking his neck instantly. The next morning, police arrive to find Tommy and Austin dead. The scene looks unexplained, like tragedy struck out of nowhere. Jane Doe lies on the autopsy table, still perfect and untouched. Her body is loaded into a van, sent off to another morgue for further examination. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.